What's up, you freaking geniuses? So in this video, I'm going to teach you how to simplify variable expressions using the distributive property. All right, so let's start with this first one up here on the top left. So as you can see, we have x plus 4 in parentheses and then a 3 out here, right? So in order to distribute, all you do is take this number that's on the outside and multiply it by this first number or variable and this second number or variable, right? So here I would have 3 times x, which would just be 3x, and then I'd multiply it by this number right here, right? 3 times 4. And remember, we're adding right here, so you just bring that down. Okay, so simplifying some things, 3x stays as 3x. We can't simplify that anymore. And then we're going to add that to 3 times 4, which is 12. Okay, so this would be your simplified answer, 3x plus 12. Now, we can also apply the distributive property to problems that have subtraction in them. But you still apply it the same way. So all you do is take this number out here and multiply it by this first number or variable, and then multiply it by the second number variable. Okay, so here we would have 5 times 2, and then here we would have 5 times x, which would just be 5x, right? And again, this time instead of adding, we're subtracting. Okay, so bring the subtraction down. So simplifying here, we'd have 5 times 2, which is 10, and then minus 5x. Okay, so that would be your answer, 10 minus 5x. Okay, now let's try one with a fraction, but nothing changes. Okay, it's still the same process. So here we would take 3 over 4 and multiply it by n, and then multiply it by 8. Right, so 3 over 4 times n, and then we would do 3 over 4 times 8. And again, since we're adding right here, we would add right here. Okay, so now we can simplify some things. So 3/4 times n, the simplified version would just be 3/4 n, okay? And again, we're going to add that to 3/4 times 8, which I'll work out over here. So 3/4 times 8 would be the same thing as 3/4 times 8 over 1, right? Because I can just rewrite 8 as a fraction by putting it over 1. So then this would be equal to, let's see, 3 times 8 is equal to 24, and that'd be over 4 times 1, which is 4. Okay, so 24 divided by 4 is equal to 6, right? So this simplifies down to just 6. So your simplified answer right here would be 3/4 n plus 6. Okay, so hopefully those weren't too bad. Now we're going to switch it up. So starting with this example right here, we have y plus 7 and then times this y out here, okay? So you would basically just take this y and multiply it by this y, and then you would multiply it by this 7, okay? So then here I'd have y times y, and then here I'd have y times 7. And remember, we're adding here, okay? So y times y, that's the same thing as y squared, and we're going to add that to y times 7, or we can also reverse that and put it as 7 times y, right? So 7 times y is the same thing as just 7y, okay? So your simplified answer right here would be y squared plus 7y, okay? So now let's go to this other example. So here I have 5 over x, and then inside here we have x minus 9, okay? So again, I'm going to take this whole thing out here and multiply it by x, and then multiply it by 9. Okay, so we're going to do 5 over x times x, and we're going to do 5 over x times 9. Okay, and don't forget, since we're subtracting here, we're still subtracting, okay? So how would you simplify this? 5 over x times x. Well, one way you can do it is how we solved it over here, okay? So I'll just bring it down over here. So 5 over x times, and now x, I can also write that as a fraction, okay? All you have to do is put it over 1. So now, simplifying this, on top we have 5 times x, which would just be 5x. And then on the bottom we have x times 1, which is just x, right? So as you can see, we have an x on top and on the bottom, so those cancel out. right? Because whenever you have the same number on the top and the bottom, they cancel out. Same thing for variables. If you have the same variable on top and the bottom, they cancel out. So here, we're just left with 5, right? So 5 over x times x simplifies down to just 5, okay? And then we're subtracting that from 5 over x times 9. So again, I'll write that out over here. So 5 over x times 9. So 9, if I wanted to turn it into a fraction, I could do that also by putting it over 1, right? So then simplifying this, I would get 5 times 9 on top, and that equals 45. And that'd be over x times 1, which would just be x, right? So 45 over x. Okay, so this simplifies down to 45 over x. Okay, and this would be your final answer. 5 minus 45 over x. Ugly answer, I know, but it's correct. Okay, let's do one more example. So in parentheses, we have 3x plus x squared, and then out here we have x over 2, okay? But again, the process is still the exact same. So I'm going to take x over 2, and I'm going to multiply it by this first one, so times 3x. And I'm going to take x over 2 and multiply it by this second term over here, x squared. Okay, and we're adding here, so I'm going to keep adding right there. Okay, so let's simplify this side first, and I'll write it down here. So x over 2 times 3x. Now, if I want to turn 3x into a fraction, again, I can do that. Just put it over 1, okay? So simplifying this, here we have x times 3x. That's equal to 3x squared. Okay, so whenever you multiply the same variable together, so here we have x and x, so we get x squared. And then this 3, we just keep it out there in front, okay? And then on the bottom, we have 2 times 1, which is just 2. So this side right here simplifies down to 3x squared over 2. 3x squared over 2. And then I'm going to add that, right? We're adding. Okay, so now let's simplify this side. So here we're going to have x over 2 times x squared. Now, if you want to write x squared as a fraction, let me move that a little bit. To write it as a fraction, you just have to put it over 1, right? So then on top we have x times x squared, which would be equal to x cubed. Okay, and in case you don't know how I got that, x squared, that's the same thing as x times x, right? And then we're just multiplying by this extra x over here. So as you can see, we have 3 x's, okay? So that's why our answer is x cubed. And then that's going to be over 2 times 1, which is just 2. Okay, so on this side, we got x cubed over 2. So x cubed over 2. Okay, so can we simplify what I'm boxing right here? Can we simplify this anymore? Well, just a little bit, because as you can see, they both have the same denominator. So how do you add fractions that have the same denominator? Well, you can just combine what's on top. So here we have 3x squared plus x cubed, right? So 3x squared plus x cubed. And that's going to be over 2. Okay? And then since we just have a 2 on the bottom, you just keep the 2 right there. Okay? So then your ultimate final answer would be right here. So 3x squared plus x cubed over 2. So if you found the video helpful, definitely leave a thumbs up down below. And if you have any other questions or want to see any other examples, just let me know in the comment section below. Also, there's a couple playlists attached that I think you'll find helpful, so definitely check those out, and I'll see you there.